Hi guys. Hey everyone. Oh, my hair is a mess. Look at this. Oof. That is rough. That is rough. So welcome back to the Dead Hours. I'm the cautionary tale you should have listened to, but now it's too late. And I'm your host with the most and future ghost, Vivian. And I know this is an odd time to be going live. It's not the time I typically go live, but there is a very good reason for that. And the reason for that is the person joining me today is joining me from all the way across the Atlantic. They are my very special guest and an amazing investigator with over 1,500 subs on his YouTube channel and growing. Please welcome, all the way from Ireland, Paranormal Resident.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Of course. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. It's a good day. It's a good day. How's your night going? Because I know it's nighttime for you over there.
10 p.m. now. I'm good. Investigate the filming from my YouTube channel, so I'm happy.
There you go. That is what it's about. So we got some people watching. We've got about 9 people watching right now. We'll let them trickle in as they come on. So, and this will be posted on the Dead Hours channel for future viewing. So if people miss it, don't worry about missing the lives. Like, you can always come back and watch it later. That will not go anywhere. So how long have you been doing paranormal investigation?
Well, I started Paranormal Resident about 1.5 years ago, but I've always had a big interest in paranormal. I grew up in a haunted house that would date back to the 1700s, so I've kind of been kind of part of me, and I always wanted to do something with it. So I always, before the channel, I visited amazing locations, but then I just got this idea, why not share with people and have some fun?
There you go. So what was it like growing up in a haunted house? Like, how many ghosts were in this house?
Well, I suppose part of the Irish kind of culture, we always talk about ghosts. Halloween originated here in Ireland. It's just part of our culture. So I suppose growing up, I was scared at times. It used to be an old prison. So it was quite scary. My bedroom was a kitchen. Growing up, I had a lot of experiences. You know, I'm sure my parents thought I was crazy, but you know, my mother always just called the ghost Frank. It was part of the family. That was it. Leave him to it. You don't get on with it.
Yeah, it's like, hey Frank, hey Frank, hi. You know.
Yeah. Stop panicking, everyone.
Stop it, Frank. Like, seriously, you need to calm down. That's very cool. Like, so it was something that you've kind of just grown up around then. It's been very organic to who you are as a person growing up.
Definitely. In Ireland, like, we're just surrounded by history, you know, castles and ruins, and I grew up playing in graveyards and ruins of castles and stuff like that. So from a very young age, I loved it, but then I just decided to, why not share some of the beautiful locations on YouTube?
For sure. So we have a little issue. It looks like I'm seeing some audio issues on your end. The audio keeps cutting a little bit. So I don't know if you've got wireless or whatever, but the audio is kind of going out in and out a little bit, but we'll work with what we have. So
sorry.
It's totally fine. Technical difficulties, right? You know, technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, So how many sites have you investigated so far total, you think?
Oh, wow. I suppose if I look through my playlist, I've been to over 120 locations in the past 1.5 years.
Wow.
Graveyards, castles, I've done overnights investigations. I've been to probably all the most haunted locations in Ireland.
Lots of castles. I did notice there's like tons of castles on your list, which is super cool. That is super cool. That is something we do not have here. And I would die to go investigate a castle, but we don't have those. So
if you ever come to Ireland, I'll bring you to a castle.
Yes, absolutely. I am totally 100% down. So tell me about some of your favorites. So since Ireland does have such a deep history, like I said, of ghosts and paranormal, and all of that. Tell me about some of your favorite sites that you've been to.
I suppose the most haunted place known in Ireland would be Leap Castle. I've been to Loch Hall, Kinnity Castle. There's so many. Hellfire Club.
That's a big one too.
Yeah, definitely. God, there's so many to think of. Ah, let me see. I've been all around. Like I've been to some incredible locations, and I've been lucky enough to stay open as well. I recently went to Ormond Castle as well.
That's very, yeah. As to see, you have a more recent video up right now that I haven't looked at yet, but please do go watch. You guys, the description is in the description. His link is in description, and we will run a banner here shortly with the subscribe link as well. So go check that out. So do you have a team that you go with, or do you generally go solo to these places?
Paranormal Resident is just my own channel. It's my solo investigation, but I'm also part of another team called Paranormal Adventures Ireland, and we have events across Ireland, and we invite the public. We scare them.
That sounds awesome. And
yeah,
that is the goal, right?
It's a hell of a lot of fun, definitely. Definitely.
So you mentioned it. So what was your most active site? So your most active site you've been to so far, where you've got the most like activity from?
Funny enough, the most active place I've actually been is not one of the well-known haunted locations. It's probably one abandoned school, just struggling, and I went in and I did a video. I got some crazy activity. I was there and I got doors slamming. We heard little singing.
Wow.
We had a crazy spirit box session, and I caught a door slamming on camera, which I was super excited about. But like, I suppose like all the major haunted locations in Ireland, sometimes the ghosts are kind of not bothered with it because they're so used to people in and talking. So I like to, the good thing about Paranormal Resident is I kind of discover new haunted locations that people can go and enjoy, and you know, I love that part of it. But definitely I would say it's the abandoned, less old houses across Ireland.
So that's very true, because like you said, the places that are very well known for being haunted, it's like, and that seems to be what's crazy. Like a lot of times investigators will say the places that are the most active are the ones that kind of fly under the radar. They're the ones that people don't usually go to, because you know, you'll expect to get so much activity from a place that is well known for being haunted, and then it's like, this was okay. And you'll go someplace where you're like, I don't know about this place. We don't know if it's haunted or not, and it's crazy off the charts. So it's one of those things. Yeah, that's the nice thing about being able to have like a channel like then do what you do, is because you're able to go out and find these new spots that may not have been, you know, tapped previously with, you know, energy and stuff like that. So
that's my favorite thing to do. I love just exploring old abandoned houses and seeing if there is a ghost. If there's not, there's not. But if there is, it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun. Like it's like a fun little secret, like you found like a little Easter egg or something. You found like a little like secret place that it's like, ooh, there's nobody knows about here. And like, you know, it's really cool. Like, because you know, everyone knows the big ones, but it's always cool to find that unknown stuff. So what is the most compelling piece of evidence you've captured on an investigation so far?
Ooh, I suppose it would be door slamming shut.
The door.
Yes, because it was just so violent the way it happened that it was quite hard to wrap my head around it when it happened. And this is kind of just when I started off Paranormal Resident. But you know, I've had little things happen to me, but I do find paranormal evidence is incredibly rare. So it just doesn't happen. A lot of the time we're sitting in the dark talking to thin air. So
True. How often is that? Like, that's usually most of an investigation, right? That's the part that people don't see. People see like 40 minutes of activity, but you're there for like 6 hours and you're like, yeah, there was like a lot of times we were just talking to the darkness and there's nothing.
Exactly. And I find some people get disappointed because they get into their head they're going to come and see a ghost when really you're just sitting in the dark. going, hello, is there anybody there?
Asking questions to the darkness, and sometimes
Yeah.
they answer, but it's definitely a time game for sure.
Oh, definitely. Like if I film for probably 2 to 3 hours if I go for just a quick mini investigation and it's edited down to maybe 15, 20 minutes, and most of the time not.
Yeah, like it's like and nothing and nothing, nothing. Oh wait, something, and
Maybe.
then nothing. So what do you feel like the most, so the door slamming, definitely, that's a very definitive, like when you have a physical thing like that happen that you can't debunk, that you can't explain, you're not like, there was no wind here, nobody was near the door. So, of course, immediately you go to try to figure out, okay, well, could that have been something else? Right. You try to debunk it. And when you can't, when you get something like that, it's crazy. So do you think that something like that is the most compelling? Like if you were to show a skeptic, like maybe somebody who's on the fence of like, they're not 100% sure if ghosts are real.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's the most compelling evidence you could show them, or like EVPs, or like spirit box? Like, would you feel like you would show somebody that's kind of on the fence with that sort of thing?
The evidence I love to capture and share with people is the physical evidence, not so much spirit boxes, things like that. They can always people.
Oh, we're losing the audio again.
Oh,
yeah, we're losing the audio again.
I don't have any mic.
If you have, you can join on mobile. If you have like a headset for your phone, if that would work better, you can always use that as well.
I am on mobile at the moment.
Oh, you're on mobile? Okay. Because I would say, like, yeah, it sometimes, I don't know, and it depends on the Wi-Fi connection as well. Like it depends on your connection and stuff. So
I'm in the middle of Ireland, so it's probably not.
maybe it's like, but you were saying it's like things like the physical stuff rather than like spirit boxes, rather than like EVPs.
Yeah.
That's what you would tell people.
I love to show people the just physical type of evidence and visual evidence using gadgets and stuff like that. I always say I'm the best tool when it comes.
That's something, and you'll show that to people and they'll go, how did that happen? They'll go, how did that happen? And you're like, I don't know how that happened. That's why I'm showing you, because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the definition of paranormal, right? It's not normal. It's paranormal. That's why I'm showing it to you.
Yeah. But then again, we always get the skeptics who just explain everything away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which I'm totally open to, but some people are so close to it not.
Some people they're really like, there's going to be, and we've had this other guests on the show that have kind of said the same sort of thing, where there's always going to be those people that are hardcore skeptics that you could show them a full body apparition caught on camera, on video, and they'll go, that's fake. You could capture the most compelling evidence and they're going to be like, meh.
Oh, with YouTube, I get all the comments.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it happens a lot. So what has been your most frightening or disturbing encounter that you've had so far?
Ooh, that would be in Castle, which is an extremely...
That's my favorite one.
County Offaly. It was built in 1280. It's a very old castle, and it's said to be haunted. We've done my team there, Paranormal Resident, numerous occasions. But I suppose the most terrifying time there, I can do, but one when we got visitors.
Oh, we lost audio. we lost audio entirely. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
It started breaking up really, like, and then it was like all of a sudden audio gone. And I was like, oh no.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah, Lep Castle, definitely I would say I got physically sick in Lep Castle before.
Really?
I had to actually leave the investigation, and I wasn't until I went again that I figured out that this happens a lot of the time to people who come to Lep Castle. Mm-hmm. The next a member of the public got incredibly sick, the exact symptoms I had, and she had to leave as well. So,
Gently as well. Yeah. So
yeah,
well, just like describe the physical sickness that you have. Was it like a headache? Did you feel dizzy? What were your symptoms that you were feeling?
almost like about to pass out.
Okay.
Like to the point where I was like, I have to visit the hospital. I
Oh,
was I was like, there's something seriously wrong. Almost drugged or poisoned or something like that. Kind of.
okay. Like that sort of feeling.
And it's funny because in Lep Castle there was a whole clan that were poisoned in it. So
Sure.
yeah. So a lot of people probably did say that you were picking up on that or something like that.
Mhm.
But of course, it could be completely normal. It could be just because I was feeling sick, but I was totally fine before I went to the castle.
Yeah, you said you were feeling, before you got there, you were feeling totally normal, and then and
I,
the fact that this has happened to multiple people have the same encounter is a little, that's like, yeah, it could be, but so
so
oh, go ahead.
it's just a very strange location, and a lot of people that do enter it, they do feel like there is something there, definitely.
Yeah, it's very, I've heard it's very active, and it can affect people very like very much so physically, and like it's, I mean, there's a reason it's so famous. There's a
Yeah,
reason it's so famous for being so crazy haunted. Um, and so obviously, like when you go to these locations, you investigate locations that have a ton of history behind them, and that's the one thing I really enjoy about your videos too. Not like, it's not the only thing. I love your videos, but the one thing I really like that you do is you do a very in-depth history. You'll do like a historical portion
yeah,
before you start the investigation. So you go into, like, you show some really great shots of where you're at, and then you describe like a brief overview of where you are in the activity and the things that have happened there. Do you find that that influences anything you've encountered, or do you like to do the history before? Because I know some people like to go in blind to a place and they
yeah.
don't want to know anything about it.
Well, every time I go in blind because
Okay.
I don't do the history voiceover till I edit. So sometimes I might look up one or two things as in names I call out help with energy,
Mhm.
but most of the time I go in blind and then I do the history portion afterwards. I'm a big historian. I love looking into the history of places and learning about my ancestors and what it was like living in the medieval time.
For sure. So that's very cool. Have you found that when you do that, when you go back and do the history research later after you've gone in, that you find a lot of things that confirm like what you found, that confirm evidence, that end up lining up?
Absolutely, like you would, given or doing the history, you would say a name, and then you go to edit your spirit box session, and you'd hear that name come true, or you would hear something related to the history, or a bit of Irish language as well. So definitely, it's fascinating looking back.
For sure. Is that how you choose your locations? Like, how do you narrow down, or do you just based on hearsay, based on what people have said, if they've said they're haunted? Like, how do you pick
Yeah.
a location that you go to?
Well, in Ireland, everywhere is haunted.
I mean,
Seemingly.
fair
So,
play.
yeah, it's just the locals. There's always local ghost stories. Of course, I just look up historical sites near me. There's always something, and there is hearsay, and then Google helps a lot as well. Of course.
Thank goodness for Google.
Thank
It cuts down our research time for sure. So would you ever, speaking of skeptics, we kind of talked about that a little bit. Would you ever take a skeptic on an investigation with you?
Oh, definitely. With the team, Paranormal Adventures Ireland, we always have skeptics that come along, and they're always the first ones to be really scared, to run out of the room.
It's probably, yeah, they're probably the ones that was like, oh, did you hear, like, did you guys make that noise? And you guys are like unruffled and just unbothered, and like,
Yeah,
this is gonna be a long night for you if you're gonna react to every sound.
exactly. Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun messing with skeptics as well. Just to see the reactions is so much fun, especially if the ghosts are really active.
Right.
Sometimes if you have a big group of skeptics, the ghosts just don't interact. I find more open, more possible.
Yeah.
But the skeptics, they're a lot of fun, definitely.
What do you find like the ratio is when you bring skeptics with you? What do you find the ratio of them like? Do most of them end up believing it after, or do they kind of stay the same?
I suppose maybe like half are kind of, they would start believing. The other half, they'd be just like, okay, that was a really weird night. I don't really know. I didn't see a ghost, but I heard some incredibly strange things.
Right.
But I'm sure we've made believers of some people, definitely.
Oh, I'm 100% sure, especially if they get grabbed or something. That's a hard one to explain away, right?
Exactly.
Like I got touched. Well, nobody touched you here. Like, you know, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun with the skeptics, but I think like this, when you come in with a skeptical mind as well, and you're not open to it, I think it's such a shock then when something does happen that I can really, really affect them, like, and they really remember what happened that night. It will stick with them forever.
Yeah, it sticks with them for sure. It's a story they're going to tell all their friends. That's 100% for sure.
We're glad to provide that service.
Yes. Like, we're glad to do that. So have you guys ever gone to a private residence if you were invited to say if somebody thinks there's a ghost in their home or a harmful spirit in their home? Would that be something you guys would be open to going to do, or just you by yourself open to go do?
Definitely. Like with Paranormal Resident, I have personally, not with the team, gone to namely haunted places, and if it's okay to film, I'll film a video. If not, I will just investigate for them. We'll communicate with the spirits for the night, have some snacks, and then if they want to do a cleansing afterwards, I'm happy to do that for them as well. But I suppose a lot of people in Ireland, it's a highly religious country as well, a Catholic country. So a lot of them kind of stay away from ghosts, and you know, you're not to talk to ghosts and things like that. So, but some people are open to it, and definitely I have been invited to houses just to see if there is anything there, and they're actually my favorite times when I'm not filming. I have to worry about getting a video done where I can just relax and be with the people, do a spirit box session or EP session, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like that's an aspect that is kind of like, there's another side of that, you know, paranormal investigation. Yeah. Going to these public places is one thing, but then getting invited to investigate someone's home, and potentially cleanse it of like whatever's there, because they're having things they can't explain happen. So that's like,
it's more of a personal experience for them, definitely. And I don't want to like throw my camera in my face and just do it for YouTube. I just like to go in, and you know, if they're comfortable with it, of course I'll film a little bit, but most of the time it's just done in private, and you know, we'll do a cleansing. And yeah, I've caught some really cool things actually doing some private locations, like EVPs, stuff like that, but it's so hard not to be able to share it with the world.
Yeah, I'm sure. The instinct is you want to film it and capture it on camera, but it's like,
yeah. But I suppose I'll always remember. I have my memories.
Right. There you go. Well, we'll always have ghosts. So, with the spirits, the potential spirits you encounter, do you believe that most of them are of people who've passed on, or that there's something else, like it's a different entity? Like, what do you feel like you've encountered most of?
Well, I think just good and bad people and good and bad ghosts, and I think people can confuse evil entities with just bad people who have crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well demons. I think demons is a very big trend in the paranormal world, but
very much so.
I think it's very easy to call someone when really they were just an absolute whatever in life, and they're still that in the afterlife, and they're just acting up and they're causing all this angry activity. And I suppose if I had somebody coming into my house all the time asking me like, am I there, I would be angry as well.
Yeah, that's true. Like, they were angry in life, and maybe now they're still angry in death. Like you said, it doesn't seem to change their behavior. That's for sure. Yeah, it's like I feel like you're right. I feel like demons are an unfortunate trend that's kind of happened in paranormal, just because I feel like people think it gets clicks or gets watch views. So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm with you on that one.
I think Ghost Adventures and shows like that, they really kind of publicize the whole demon trend. And I have done like places where the devil supposedly was and things like that, and it does get the clicks. But you know, I never have communicated with a demon. I've never talked to a demon, and I hope I don't, if there is such a thing.
And I don't want to.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of bad spirits who were just incredibly rude.
Right.
But, get out of my house kind of thing. And I'm just like, no, I want to stay and talk.
Why don't you want to talk to me, spirit? Why are you so
be my friend?
be my ghost friend, please. Are you concerned with things following you home from investigations, and do you do anything to prevent that from happening?
I have had a few spirits follow me home and cause activity. When I went to Hellfire Club in Dublin, which is up in the Dublin Mountains, it's a crazy hike up to get to it. I had a little street child follow me home, a little boy.
Oh, okay.
Which I was told later by a medium, obviously. But I did experience a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of activity. And ever since I've learned my lessons, so I kind of prevent them. I say a little thing for myself. I wear a pentagram and Celtic symbols, and of course stage and blah blah blah. But you know, I kind of protect myself now. But for YouTube, I'm kind of like, please follow me home so I can film it.
So I can film it. Like, would you be opposed to like investigating? Because I know that's another thing that's sometimes taboo, and it depends on the investigator. To investigate your own home. Would you investigate your own home?
Oh yeah, I have done plenty of times. Anything for YouTube. During the pandemic, of course, I had to you know, try and stay inside, and I tried playing paranormal games. I got the Ouija board. I purchased the Ouija board and said, I'm just going to go for it. And you know, I did a possession ritual on a teddy bear, which was terrifying. I'm investigating my childhood home. I just kind of had to be practical with ghost hunting since we can go out. Definitely.
Yeah, that was actually one of my next questions was what challenges have you encountered because of the pandemic with investigation sites, and how have you kind of overcome that? And it sounds like you overcame it pretty well, actually.
Yeah. I tried my best at the beginning when Ireland was on a very strict lockdown. Of course, with paranormal, it's not like I'm going out with the team or anything like that. With being a solo investigator, I was able to go out to some locations that were very rural and nobody was around, of course. Mm-hmm. So I was that aspect, or I could go to the graveyard and things like that. But at the very beginning, when I was quite scared of the pandemic, and you know, it was the forefront of everyone's mind, we didn't really know what was happening. I decided that I was going to play some paranormal games, and I did some conjuring videos, and they were actually quite popular when I did them. And I was like, wow, like, you know, I should maybe do some more videos at home and come up with some new ideas, because it is a lot of work and go to many locations, but sometimes locations can be very dangerous and things like that. It's a hell of a lot of work to try to some of these locations as well.
Yeah, it's been a unique challenge, and obviously one that is my cat in the background. I apologize for that noise. Apparently she decided she wanted to pipe in for this interview as well and throw in her 2 cents. So Luna.
The moon.
She's all white and has gold eyes, so I thought it was appropriate. And she's very loud, as you can tell. So I know it's been a unique challenge for investigators, especially, not only just for everybody and for regular people in regular life, but it's been a unique challenge for investigators because things have been locked down. You're not able to get into locations. Places are closed. You know, so you kind of have to fly by the seat of your pants and wing it. But as you had mentioned, this also kind of maybe gives you the opportunity to get to those locations that are less known, off the grid, and get that amazing stuff.
Yeah, like I've been to some amazing old abandoned churches and ruins that I could, like in Ireland, we weren't allowed to travel more than, I think it was 10 kilometers. I'm not sure what that would be in American, but there was, in Ireland, there's so many historical locations that, I could find a few in that radius around me
Right.
and go and experience. And it was so nice to get out of the house because we just couldn't go anywhere else.
Right. It's like, I just want to leave the house.
If ghosts don't get me crazy, the pandemic will.
That's true. I mean, true facts. Do you ever get scared on an investigation? Have you ever gotten like freaked out and actually scared? Though it sounds like LEP was probably the closest.
Oh, I get scared all the time.
You're like, no, it's constant.
I don't put this bravado on my channel thinking I'm the bravest person. I scream and I shout and I run, but I always go back in. But I don't try to be this macho person going around. The whole fun of my channel is just a regular person going ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And what it's really like, like you do get scared, even if it's a bird that unexpectedly makes a noise, you scream. And I make sure not to edit it out and leave it in my videos. I have blooper lists of all the times I have been just making a show of myself.
We actually pulled one up, so we will watch some clips in a second. And we have one clip that I cracked me up. So we'll get to that in just a second. But yeah, like there are definitely investigators that kind of throw on that bravado. So it's nice and refreshing to see, like you said, just somebody out ghost hunting that gets scared sometimes, because sometimes you hear an unexpected sound and you get scared,
I'm at these locations by myself, and even if a lot of the locations I do go to, like mini investigations at daytime and then at nighttime, but it's terrifying when you don't know.
Because you never know, like you're there by yourself in the dark. You get a little on edge, Well,
I'm the screamer on YouTube.
Would you bring home anything, like if you found like an object, let's say an object or an item from a location, would you bring anything like that home?
Never.
Never? Like, no.
And I know in Leap Castle, there is stories of people who brought home like a stone or something like that from the bloody chapel, and they had to send it back in the post to the owner of the castle because they had horrible bad luck. And in Leap Castle, the Great Hall, there's letters on the wall with the piece of stone that took, and like I'd be terrified.
No, this is absolutely not.
No.
Somebody wants me to ask you about the dog in Leap Castle.
Oh no. Well, that was an embarrassing moment. We were sitting in the banquet hall, calling out, and we heard a dog bark, and I jumped on a table because I was so scared in front of the public. And I'm sure the person who asked you that question is one of the team members. Amy, thanks very much.
Yep, she's the one that asked that question. So
that was my first investigation with them.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, like if you hear a sound like that, again, it's an unexpected sound when it's all silent and quiet, and it's startling a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to get away from it, and I just ended up on a table. I don't know what happened. It happened.
This is what is happening. This is real. What is your favorite piece of equipment to use?
Oh, definitely spirit box.
Spirit box.
Yeah. I try, like in my channel, I try and I will try and use new things. But I love the spirit box. How you can, I know it can be explained away, of course, with radio interference, but some reply like. I love the communication with the spirits talk.
Mm-hmm.
Not some ghost. They're
it's definitely a cool piece of equipment to use, and it's like and it can be, there's things that can be explained away about it. The handy thing you can do though is I know an investigator who actually takes the antennas out, of his
Yeah.
takes them out, so that way it's like one less thing that people can go, oh, well, there's an antenna, you're picking up signal. It's like, no, I don't have an antenna, so no.
That's true.
Yeah. So like it's spirit boxes, and plus it's portable. It's easy to use, and granted, I mean, the static kind of gets on people's nerves sometimes, but I've gotten so used to the sound of the white noise static that I'm just like,
yeah, I try to cut it down on my channel because even when I edit in it, it drives me up the wall sometimes. But then for a YouTube video or something like that, you have to have that type of content because most of the time you're just talking to, not, and so it'd be very boring video without the spirit box, so it helps kind of fill up my video as well.
Have you ever considered using, as I know there's some investigators that use noise gates on the spirit box, that you can put a noise gate on it and it cuts the static out but only leaves the responses?
I have used got a loan from an investigator in Ardmore Castle, and we used that. I love it. I'd love to get one, but they're incredibly expensive.
Not cheap.
No. So when my channel picks up a bit and I get subscribers and I start, making money from it, I would love to get one and share that with everyone.
So there you go, guys. Seemed like a perfect time for that right there. So go subscribe, because those noise gates and that equipment, not cheap, you guys. And these guys do this out of their own pockets. So definitely go help them out. Like it makes a lot of difference for sure.
Not cheap. It's one of the very expensive hobby.
It really is. It really is. Like when you start like getting like the cameras and things like that, it's just like it totals up fast. So yeah. What is your dream investigation location? Like if money was no object and time was no object, where would you want to go investigate?
Okay. I would love to investigate actually the GPO in Dublin, where the Irish Civil War was fought, and it's a post office at the moment, but it's this beautiful kind of amazing government building, and you would never get access to it, but I would just love to get access to it. There was a lot of our Irish heroes fought for Irish freedom against England there. It's just beautiful, and I'd love to get access definitely to the GPO.
Yeah, there's one of our previous guests mentioned, because it's the same kind of thing, and government buildings you're not going to get access to here. I mean, here either in the States. One of them said White House was their the White House was their dream location, because it's like that shit is haunted. It is haunted.
Yeah, I did a video on the White House hauntings. I do kind of commentary videos. I did one, and some crazy stories from the White House.
Oh, it's haunted 100%. But that's another one of those where you're like, you're never going to get in there. But boy, would that be cool if you could.
Well, if I ever visited it, I would bring my spirit box, and I don't care if they kick me out. I will do a spirit box session while I'm on a tour.
And just keep filming while the Secret Service drags you out.
Yeah. Great content for YouTube.
There you go. Gets clicks. So let's watch some clips, shall we? So the first clip I have, let me pull up here. I think this is the right one. I think I have them organized so that we have them correctly. Okay. So this kind of killed me, but we're going to watch this because, I have a very distinct reason for watching it, and I will tell you guys in a little bit, but we're going to watch this. So tell me about what we got up here.
We have a bat.
Bat, you guys.
In Lacking Castle, I was with a fellow team member, and he fell. Trying to get.
I almost died laughing.
I was just terrified that the bat was going to fly into my hair.
Just the slow-mo even was everything. So
I'm scared. I love that castle, though. I love Lacking.
Just these in my hair. And you guys got some crazy. You guys got some crazy evidence from there as well. So we're gonna skip to the spirit box session that you guys got in the chapel area. So I I had to do the bat one because I know that it's a global problem, you guys. I know someone who's going to be real. He's going to feel a lot better when he watches the show, eventually when he watches it, because bats, y'all. Bats. It is apparently an international problem with paranormal investigators being attacked by bats. So global issue.
Yes.
So let's pull up the next one, which is going to be the spirit box that you guys got from that same castle. Is this the right one? Yes. Okay, cool. Because I think sometimes StreamYard does some weird stuff.
In the chapel area.
Okay, that's not what I wanted. Hold on.
Box. And let's just see if anything comes true.
There we go.
Okay, I'm calling out to the spirits of Blackeen Castle. If you're hearing me out, can you come and say hello?
That sounded like I don't know to me.
I don't know.
You guys, that sounded like I don't know.
I find like spirit box back very hard because everybody hears something different.
Oh, yeah. There are lots of you.
That was a full sentence.
Yeah.
So how frequently were these things coming through? Like, it seemed like it was like back to back to back. Was it like that?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. It was like, I suppose for a few it was back to back, but that could have been filmed for over an hour and a half, and I just cut it down so people get just static for 15 minutes.
Right.
But I love getting the same voice through over and over again. I was filming today in an abandoned it'll be coming soon to my channel, this beautiful abandoned Georgian house, and I got the same voice coming through, and it was very, very strange. Very strange.
That's the best. Yeah, isn't that the best when you get like the same, like you'll like, that was the same voice in the same tone. Like,
yeah, like if you can argue that it is the radio interference, of course it could be the same presenter going over and over again, but when it comes to the fact that they're actually responding to exactly like, can you say my name? Can you tell me how many spirits are here? That's what really gets me. Spirit box sessions, I really love that.
Yeah, when you get the intelligent responses, that's what
yeah,
makes the difference. Yeah. Also, where you were at in this castle doesn't seem like a place that would have a lot of radio frequencies or be picking up actual radio signal around there. Is that right?
Yeah, no, not at all. No, like we were in the middle of nowhere in Tipperary. Lacking Castle is a beautiful castle. It's actually one of the first locations I ever went to. And I kind of discovered Lacking Castle. A lot more paranormal teams have actually gone since my videos, and I think it was actually one of my first videos was definitely Lacking Castle, and the spirits there like to talk in Irish, so I have to brush up on my Irish skills, even though I'm from Ireland. We don't really speak fluent there. I know a few bits, but not much.
You're like, but not fluently.
No.
So I have another video from the Lacking Castle, and of course it's the return of the bat, because I had to.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind, but this crap, like, I'm sorry, this was funny. Like, this was good. I was just like, bats are apparently a constant source of consternation
It
for
just take
paranormal investigators. Apparently, they are an international problem. So we will go ahead and I don't know if it'll let me, if it's going to full screen it correctly this time. There we go. You are picking up some evidence here, though.
Again, how many spirits are here? Tap it out for us. There's a blue box on the floor. Can you walk over to it? God, I went full Mr. Bean.
The full Mr. Bean thing, dude, got me. 100% fucking got me. Like that was amazing. So
I kept possessed by him many times.
So apparently the bat just liked you guys a whole lot.
Yeah, I've been to plenty of locations where the bat just haunts us, and I'm just terrified of them. I just think they're flying rats, and I can't handle it. Scare me.
Totally, but I mean, in all seriousness, you guys did, outside of bat encounters, you guys did get a lot of really cool like evidence at that location. So if you guys haven't seen it, go watch the Lacking Castle video in full. And I have one more clip. It's not bat related, I promise. So this one's at Palace Castle, which you were at fairly recently.
Yes.
So we will pull that one up in just a second here. And you got like a really interesting EVP in this one. It looks like a culvert, or like maybe underneath. Was it like a drainage? You could kind of walk through it.
It was cellar. It was part of the cellar, yeah.
So it's the cellar. So that's what we are looking at. Well, we're looking at something blurry at the moment because that happens to be where I paused it, but you know. Hiding. Which, appropriate for a cellar.
Yeah.
Like, you got a crazy, like...
I'm not the spirit to this castle. If you're hearing me now, please come and say hello. Hoop shoot.
Hoop shoot is pretty awesome. So you did get a lot of like, and it seems like at one point in that video that you did get your name at least once.
Yes, yeah. Kieran comes through a lot when I'm investigating, and then sometimes I think I hear it and I don't hear it, and then other people tell me no, it wasn't my name. I think sometimes you're trying to make words out of things that aren't really there, but there's some definite times I've got Kieran and it just chills you to the bone to hear.
Right. When it's clear, when it's really clear.
When it's clear, dark, and I was very nervous at Palace Castle. I don't know what it was, but I was incredibly nervous walking out there. I wish I could have got into our house, but I was able to go around the fortified walls and do the history, do a mini one. But I wasn't supposed to be there, so.
Right. So you do mention like later in that video that you had the feeling you were being watched. Was that like a very pervasive, like nervous feeling that you had that did, you said nobody was there.
Nobody was there, and I thought it was fine because it was not dark, it was during the day, and I definitely felt like somebody was constantly over my shoulder. Later on, I discovered that people experienced that there when I was doing the history and stuff like that. But it can't be verified, of course, that history, because it's just hearsay, kind of. But I really did feel comfortable there. I just wanted to leave, and usually I don't want to stay forever in a haunted location, but there I just really wanted to go.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that later in the video that you were like, I was getting like really like, you were getting like really like antsy and like, I need to leave. Like something doesn't want me here.
Yeah, it definitely, it was just a total get out feeling. It's like when you walk into a party and nobody wants you there, it's that type of feeling.
Right. So would you go back though?
Oh, I'm going back.
You're like, oh, I plan on it. Like already plan on it.
I'll go back next time with my team, I think, French Ireland, because it's a lot more fun going back with people who love the same thing, and they would help me calm down a bit. When I'm by myself, I can get worked up because it's natural, you know. It wasn't like I was quite far away from my car there as well, so there was nowhere to run quickly and get out quickly because I had to hop to get there and walk a long way to get to the castle because it was literally in the middle of nowhere. And you know, but again, I really did feel like someone was constantly looking over my shoulder and looking at the camera, like looking at like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Mm-hmm. Like almost like they were like circling you and like watching what you were doing. Like, what is he doing? Why is he walking around and trying to talk to me?
Yeah, it was like a crowd of people circled me. It wasn't just like one Pacific spirit. It really did feel like maybe 4 or 5 kind of fending me away from the castle and pushing back. But you know, I always just run straight into it.
It's like, okay, well, of course, right? Isn't that how investigators are though? It's like, okay, the thing that's scary is like, you run straight into it. Like most people are like, I wouldn't go in there. You're like, that's the first place I'm going.
Well, with me, I'll run away, but I'll come back. I'll admit I do run away sometimes, but I will come back.
So we have the survey questions that I like to ask every investigator at some point in the show. It's about 10 questions. And I like to ask them with no preparation so that you guys have to answer on the spot, because I feel like these are probing questions that I like to hear everyone's unique answers to. So the first question is, whose spirit would you want to encounter if you could choose?
Mike Collins, who fought for Irish freedom in Ireland. And he's not dead. And I'd love to talk to his spirit.
Is there anywhere that you know of that his spirit been reported anywhere? Like,
well, you can visit his grave, but you could visit the site, I suppose, where he was killed as well. But there's argument of exactly where that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to maybe go to the house he grew up in, the place he lived, and try and communicate with him. When I go up, that'd be more Dublin. So I'm in Tipperary, quite far away. So when I get up to Dublin next time, I hope maybe I might try.
There you go. Hey, never hurts to give it a shot, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What is your best piece of advice for investigators that are just getting started?
Don't expect too much.
It's good.
Don't be disappointed if you go continuously to locations and pick up absolutely nothing, because that's just what ghost hunting is. It's very rare that you'll capture something, but the one thing I always say to people, especially going to a public event or anything like that, is, you know, it's not a TV show whatsoever. You know, that's very dramatized. It's quite boring at times. So just prepare yourself for that. But when you do capture something, there's no feeling like it. That's
true. Isn't that true? So what are questions you love being asked about what you do?
I think I love being asked questions, I suppose, about the Irish culture and folklore and things like that. And also, I suppose I'm very good with the history of things. And I like, so I love, you know, if people ask me about, oh, what was this place all about? I love going into that with them. And yeah. Definitely.
So conversely, on the flip side of that, what are questions or comments that you hate getting about what you do?
I suppose you're fake.
The fake stuff.
Yeah, you're crazy. There's no such thing. You know, I'll have a good argument with people about these things. I'm not one to really back down that quickly. If people are rude, of course, you know, I'm not going to back down. But I'm very open-minded to skeptics and things like that. But some people just very aggressive about it.
And just rude about it too.
Very rude, very, very rude. You can say there's no such thing, but I'm not disrespecting your belief. Don't disrespect my belief.
Absolutely, 100%, like 100. It's like the acrimony that some people have is just unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
Definitely.
So what do TV, movies, mass media get wrong about paranormal investigation?
That stuff happens every 2 seconds. It doesn't.
It's true. The time, right? The timing.
Yeah, it's the timing when, like, when I started ghost hunting, everything was a ghost to me because of media, because of these ghost shows. When I first started, I was terrified because I was sure there was a demon in front. But then over time, I learned more, and I really kind of caught on, and I was just like, mm, it's not what everybody thinks it is. It's fascinating and it's amazing and it's a wonderful hobby to have, but just it's not what you see on telly.
Yeah. It's not what you see on that. That's very heavily edited and obviously processed for entertainment value.
Yeah, definitely.
So Ouija boards, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
But my team will not hear.
Oh, they won't.
No. So, but as with my solo side of my paranormal world, Paranormal Resident, I'll do the Ouija board, no problem. I think it's, if you're going to call it a ghost with a spirit box, it's the exact same thing. I think build up head because this evil happen by you.
Yeah.
We kind of conjure up these evil because we're fear. But if you go into it calm, cool, close it down properly, it's a safe form of communication. And I have had plenty of arguments over this, that you're crazy for doing this, but I'm still here, and you have played a bit Ouija board. I'm here talking. I have lost my mind so far, so please don't worry too much about Ouija boards. It's literally a piece of wood, words, numbers on it.
I think that's that's one of the aspects thing of like that same media question. That's, I think, one of the things that the media always gets wrong about, to me, about paranormal stuff is a Ouija board and the fact that it's this tool of evil, where it's not. If you know what you're doing, just don't ask for what you don't want to answer. You know,
I always say, if you go into it expecting evil, you're going to get evil.
Yeah.
Go into it open-minded, but also protect yourself. And I always it's actually in my kitchen.
Yeah. It's not a big deal. Yeah. And I've noticed too that it's a bigger thing. It's a bigger investigative tool with UK teams.
Yeah.
And it is in the States, because for some reason in the States, like it has that reputation, you know, in the States. Like, I don't know why. But yeah, the UK, there's a lot of things that use them like on the regular.
I think the movie The Exorcist has a lot to blame with.
100% gave it a bad rep.
That scared people so much, and it's still a terrifying movie that it would make anyone think twice. And then stories, and everyone heard the story of somebody in school messing with Ouija board, and things happened.
Right.
But did it really?
Yeah.
Or
was that a tall tale or an urban legend? Yeah.
Was that person just a bit loopy, or is it all, Chinese whispers? I don't get it.
I don't either. It's one of those things, and I've had another investigator say this as well, that as long as you know what you're doing, it's no different than any other piece of equipment that you would use on an investigation. As long as you know what you're doing, just don't ask for dark things to show up, and they won't. Shut the door when you're done. Be respectful, just like you would on any investigation. Basically, don't ask for trouble. Trouble's not going to show up. So,
well, I went to a haunted library, and I got the name Zio. I won't say it because some people get a bit freaked out by the name of Zio, which is supposed to be this evil demon. But I was fine. I went home. I was cool.
You're like, I'm not possessed. I'm here. Obviously, my head's not around. Fine.
Yeah, cool. It's okay. Calm down, everyone.
So, what is the first thing you pack when you head out on an investigation?
My selfie stick and spirit box. The most important thing is spirit box. Any paranormal investigation. Right. A box full of batteries to keep things
100%.
Keeping things charged. Most of the night on any investigation is changing batteries or looking for batteries, or something always drains a battery or something. But yeah, definitely batteries and my selfie stick is the first thing I grab.
I've heard that that's how you know you're a paranormal investigator, when you reach into your pockets and you don't find anything but batteries.
Exactly. Our team goes around with like a case of batteries, every different type of battery possible.
So would you want to be a ghost?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
I'd love to be a ghost. I would want and be so. I would love to think I would be able to be active, but I think it's very hard for them to be active. I think it takes a lot for them to do anything. But
with batteries, we just talked about, they draft a drain sometimes, and that's.
I would be definitely a poltergeist, or I would be like Moni Myrtle in Harry Potter, just sobbing in the bathroom.
Crying.
Yeah, just crying, being just generally creepy.
That's the best part, rattling chains, that sort of thing.
I would go old school ghost. I'm gonna sit at the end of your bed and stare you out of it.
Just show up in like torn rags and chains. Yeah. You didn't even die in like the 1800s. Why are you dressed like that? Why not?
Because I look cool.
Why don't you like it?
He's haunting you ever again.
Mark this place off my list.
Yeah.
What is your biggest fear?
Drowning.
Drowning.
I think that would be horrendous to me.
No,
just,
yeah, 100%.
Just anything to do with like suffocation or anything got to do with that, buried alive. Mm-hmm. That biggest fear. Not or getting. Sometimes when I'm on location, I remember I fell through a floor before and I was pressed up against a wall and I was losing air. Like that, stuff like that happens, and especially when I do exploring places I really shouldn't be, because I'm just curiosity kills the cat, of course. But I'm a lot more careful now. But definitely anything got to do with breathing freaks me out.
That's understandable. That's a rational fear. That's rational fear. Can't breathe. That's scary. Yeah, that's totally scary. What is the first thing you do? So your last question, what is the first thing you do after you complete an investigation? Some people go home and go to sleep. Some people go get something to eat. Do you have like a little tradition that you like to do after you complete an investigation?
Like with the team, we would sit around the fire in the castle and talk about what happened throughout the night. Most of us would maybe just pass out on the chairs because we're so exhausted.
Paranormal hangover is a real thing.
It is very real. It takes me about 3 days to recover from an investigation sometimes.
It's real, guys.
when I'm by myself, any tradition is edit, and get it up on YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn it over to the guests who are watching. If anyone has any questions for my guest, that now would be the time to ask them. And I will post them up on the screen. So if anyone has any questions for him, anything you want to know, anything about, also I have one. Where are you going next for your next investigation?
Well, I'll be going to a few abandoned locations, but my next big investigation is Leap Castle, on Halloween.
Oh, on Halloween? Oh, yeah. Hell yes.
So we have an event on the 30th, so after midnight it will be Halloween, and we'll be there all night with the team, and I'm looking forward to it big time.
That's going to be awesome. That is going to be crazy.
Yeah. There'll be a video, so check it out on YouTube.
Make sure you hit that bell, you guys. Subscribe. The link is scrolling past your eyeballs as we speak. So please click on it and subscribe and hit that little bell so you get those notifications, especially that notification for Halloween at Leap Castle. We got one question. Let's see.
Oh, a team member.
The person on the team is
Amy. Definitely Amy. We have the chats and we always go off together and gossip.
Of course. Because
sometimes it can get incredibly boring in these castles, so we keep the conversation and the energy going.
There you go. You have to. Otherwise it's like I feel silly talking to darkness for 6 hours. Anyone else have any other questions for my guest before I let him go, because it is very late over there now? Anyone have anything else? It takes the chat a couple seconds because there's like a little teensy bit of a delay on the chat on here. So I don't get everything right away, but I'm seeing if there's any other questions. Well, if anyone has any, I don't see any more. So I'm going to close the question and answer portion. If you do have one that didn't get answered or just didn't make it into the cutoff, go ahead and post it in the comments and we'll get it answered for you if you have any other comments or you weren't able to stay. So definitely thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for being on my channel.
Yes, thank you so much. It means a lot to me that you even asked, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, definitely. So if you ever want to be on again, if you ever want to do, if we could maybe try to do one live from a location, I've done that already. So if you ever want to do anything, you are more than welcome to be back on anytime you would like.
Yeah, you tune in maybe when we're in Lep Castle, and I can show you guys around. It'd be a lot of fun.
Would you guys want to see that? Like, seriously, I don't care what you guys say. We're going to see that. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I don't care what anyone else says. That's what we're doing.
Anytime, me and my team, we will come on and spook you guys.
We love to be spooked, don't we, guys? Don't we, spooky fam? We totally do. Sorry, that is a loud car that is by my house because I have neighbors that are asses.
No.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, guys, definitely click on the link. The link to Paranormal Resident's solo channel is in the description of the video below. It is also scrolling past your eyeballs as we speak, slow enough for that you to click on it, copy, paste, and go subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell to get any notifications. Anytime he goes live, anytime we post a new video, you're gonna want to see that Lep Castle investigation. Come on, come on. So yeah, thank you for being with us, and I think we will close out the show here. So thank you 1,000 times thank you.
Bye bye, guys.
Have a wonderful night.
You too. Thanks so much.
Of course. Guys, thank you for so much for joining me in Paranormal Resident today. If you had any questions that did not get answered during the question and answer portion, please post them below. We will make sure they get answered. And I don't have anything planned yet for the next week. I'm working on getting another guest filled in, but on the 9th of September, which is the following Wednesday after next Wednesday, I will have the team from True North Paranormal on the show to interview them. So that's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome. And I will see you guys very soon. So keep your eyes open. It's going to be spooky. Stay spooky, you guys. And I can't see around my microphone to end my video. Why?